Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. How about that for an intro? And before we go any further, thank you to Lee, or as everybody knows him as Problem Being, for that wonderful intro. Absolutely brilliant. And welcome to part 2 of Why We Love Doctor Who. And John, I already have Jack awaiting to be added in the green room, so to speak.
Excellent. Right.
So
Well, hello, everybody. Yes. Firstly, 1,000 echoes of what you just said. Thank you very much, Lee, for that wonderful blast. I'm blown away. My mind is still stunned. Even stunned by those titles. Yes, stunned. Very careful about how fast you run away with you.
Well, shall
we're ready for our second episode of Why We Love Doctor Who. Can we should just say a few things before we bring Jack in?
Yeah. Jack in. You'll be there.
I've recorded a very important interview with Dan, who we know is Dan with Spacebook. And it's actually just gone up live on Gobby's channel here. Because this video is free to share. We want people to not only to share the links that exist, but to actually re-upload it anywhere. Because wherever you put it, it's going to do some good.
Yeah.
And then when you listen to the 90 minutes, you'll fully understand why.
Yeah.
And this is a once and only thing. I'm not talking about this topic ever again. The video is called "Why My Preventable Death Wasn't Prevented." Because the thing is, it's too big a story to tell in just maybe some 5-minute chunks in the middle of these shows. And this show isn't about my pancreatic cancer. It's about our love of Doctor Who. So I want everyone to know that video now exists. And if you want the detail and you want to know my personal testimony, you can now go and get that. Also, I must be honest to you guys, it's not been great news over the past 7 days. I have had an escalation of my situation. The last few days, the words pain-free have ceased to exist. It's more how accommodating the terrible stuff, So there's been that side to this as well. Other than that, and again, shout out to pancreaticcancer.co.uk, which is my chosen charity to support because I like the cut of their jib. Let's get into the show. And how is Jack?
Let's bring Jack in. Well, hello, Jack, and welcome, my friend. How are you today?
I'm okay-ish. Got a lot of stuff going on, but aside from that, yeah, I'm pretty good.
Oh, that's good to hear, mate. And I'm glad you could join us on the stream so we could all talk about how much we love Doctor Who and how much we will not mention the unmentionable occurrence that occurred just recently.
There's Doctor Who being the television show that currently is waiting for a new episode, the last one being in 2017.
Yeah, there was a big gap.
That Doctor Who, little bit of a hiatus, but we're confident that normal service will be resumed shortly.
Right then.
We need to say no more than that, do we, Gobby? That covers it completely.
Yes. It's like the Time Prophet's just reckoned I was going to be late, but actually I was actually bang on time for a change.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yes, fair there, I'll teach you. And also, just to let you know, the Time Prophet's put up that as well.
God bless your mum, Time Prophet.
Yeah.
We all lose people through life. My own mother also died of stomach cancer.
And
my
father died of colon and bowel cancer. So
yes, every family
feels it somewhere.
Yeah, but that's why it's important for every family to have the best possible chance of their loved ones to fight back and win against cancer.
Absolutely.
Because I could tell you that from going up to Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham, things like that, I have procedures. I've been meeting different consultants. Yeah. And none of them are all pleased that this has been found so horribly late.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I did not know I was dying until December the 13th last year, because that is just the worst. Because I am beyond their help.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And they regret that every bit as much as I do.
Yeah.
because they would have loved to have been able to save my life if they could. You can bet that about them. And that's why detecting cancers like pancreas cancer, even though it is more difficult than some to detect, where there is a will, there certainly is a way.
Right. Yeah.
And the numbers are
Yeah.
awful.
Oh God, yeah.
60% of people who have pancreas cancer only find out when they're already terminal.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not acceptable.
And my sincere wish is that it isn't you.
Well, yeah, fingers crossed. That's all I can do.
I thought I was doing enough for myself, and it turns out I wasn't.
Yeah.
So don't let that be you.
It won't be. Don't worry about
That's
it.
all I can say to people,
Yeah.
isn't it? Because I'm as guilty as anybody else. Warnings on a fag packet, or my mum telling me not to do something.
Yeah.
I'm as much of a pig, ignorant, stubborn git as any man.
Yeah.
So I'm not speaking to you as a saint, but even so, don't let it be you. And
absolutely.
Also, what Time Prophet has just said there about sugar. Sugar has been exterminated from my life. There is no sugar, and even so, my blood sugar is still dangerously high because my insulin's not working properly with my pancreas being knackered. You see, and it's a real concern because I don't want to have a diabetic incident, and then I'm in hospital. I'm stuffed.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
all the rest of my quality of life, and be having nice visits with my friends, and it'll all, if I have to go to hospital for any reason and I get stuck in there, then I'm not going to get what I want for my end of life experience.
Yeah,
which is to stay home and be home, until it's time to go to the hospice.
Yes.
For the last little leg. In fact, the change is now starting like a train. Because on Monday my home ceases to become my home and becomes a care setting.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely what I need, because I have to do it because I can't cope alone anymore.
Yeah.
But my bed is going to be replaced with a hospital bed, and I'm going to sleep much better because of it. And that's why I've agreed to it, because I actually need it. And that's just the reality of living through this. Right, back to Doctor Who. Right, okay.
Right then. Yes, well, just before we start, File 13 has just joined us, so hello and welcome. So there you go. And that's we've currently got 9 watching, sir. We got 9 watching.
Lovely. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
And we did say Friday, and we are doing one tomorrow.
Yes, we are.
The thing is, because my pain ramped up so badly at the weekend, me and Gobby decided that we'd go for 2 this week, just in case.
Just in case. Squeeze them in.
Just
squeeze
in
as
case,
many in.
yeah.
Get as many in.
So that's the reason we've got 2 this week. I don't know. We've got to make a decision. Maybe we'll do 2 next week. Should we agree to do 2 next week? We haven't discussed it, have we?
Should be okay. Should be okay. I'll let you know. Let you know definitely.
Right, okay. Pencil 2. Yeah, basically moving the Davison era. You get 2 episodes a week. Okay.
Yeah. But if not 2, it will definitely be definitely next Friday. No problem at all. Because I've freed all the Fridays. I've freed all the Fridays up now. As far as
I tell you what. Make sure you're here on Friday so you can get the other one on catch up. Right, there we are. There's an answer. Right, okay, we've got people fixing audio issues. That's good.
Yeah,
that means they can hear. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently my mic isn't absolutely brilliant at the moment, but I know there's a problem with it. So
I want to talk to Jack. Jack,
crack on.
Why do you love Doctor Who? What could you identify a moment in your life that was the catalyst for your love for the show? And if so, what was it? Let's try a couple of questions.
I mean, most of my love for it stems from when I was a kid. And
of course,
like a lot of young boys, I was obsessed with dinosaurs. That was my whole life. And then I remember seeing a trailer on the TV. I must have been about 5 years old. And it was of Dalek the episode from series 1, and I just remember seeing that and being captivated by it.
Was this series 1 of New Who you're talking about?
Yes, and
Golden Dalek. You say Dalek series 1 to me. My mind is rather more black and white. In fact, we talked in some detail and praise of the Daleks in the last part, didn't we, Gobby?
We did. We love the
I
Daleks.
rate that show, but I mean, of course, the Time War Daleks.
Yeah, we all love a good Dalek.
Yeah,
we all love a good Dalek.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was you. That was you, and you just been in you just grew into fandom, and you've been in fandom, and it's just part of the creativity of your life. Because I know you're a very creative guy. So that's lovely. I mean, is there anything in particular that you want to say about why you love Doctor Who? Is it a particular story, a particular character, a particular time in your life? Is there anything that you want to say, hey, this is what the show's really done for me, and I have love for it because of it? That's what we're digging for. We want the goods here, don't we, Gobby?
Absolutely.
We do want to suck it out of you. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Well, okay, that might be a bit extreme. Actually, I'll wind that back slightly.
We want people to come on, mate, not point them off.
Oh God, I got to stop laughing.
Sorry, it hurts. Sorry.
Don't do that to my time. But Jack, keep talking.
Keep talking, Jack. Go for it.
I mean, I suppose what I love about it is it's just pure escapism, and I think when life was really difficult for me, it was a way to escape. And I should have written a script before coming on here.
No, just
this is totally American missionary church, hands in the air, preach it, brother. Preach.
The trouble is, it's
the joy of the creativity of Doctor Who. What one single Christos Archilios, I've not said that right, cover could do to my mind as a primary school child in the 1970s. What just one Archilios cover could do to my imagination and my sense of possibilities, it's unspeakably vast. And yes, I did like Andrew Skilleter's work as well, especially his Cybermen. I liked his Cybermen. Good old 80s chunk. But back to you, Jack.
Well, I can't remember what I was saying.
I've got a doctor's note excuse, mate. So because I'm definitely experiencing some increased cognitive vagueness. Let's put it that way. But well, I mean, I'll talk a bit then about what I really want to talk about tonight, which is Patrick Troughton's Doctor Who. And actually, to me, talking about Troughton means starting by talking about the 10th planet. Because in my mind, the 10th planet and the Power of the Daleks, especially since the animation of Power of the Daleks was made and you could actually had a viewable product.
Yeah.
7 of the episodes restored. Yeah. That suddenly opened it up as a part of the show's history in a way that had never happened before. And I do watch it as a 10-parter. So to me, Troughton's Doctor starts with Hartnell's Doctor in the 10th planet. And what a brilliant job Billy did by just getting it over the line, even though they had to quickly chuck some lines around to different places so that Hartnell didn't have to appear in part 3 of 10th Planet because he was just getting too damn dickery.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So even with that sort of mauling of the story at the last minute, it's such a good story, but it doesn't matter. And of course, the Cybermen made such an impact.
Oh, massive!
The Mondasian Cybermen made such an impact.
Indeed.
That story resonated right through to the end of Peter Capaldi's run, and when they came back in one of one of the few double parters of New Who that I would really rate as high as what I would some of the six parters from Classic. World End Up in Time and the Doctor Falls. We could go on about Moffat endings as much as we like. It's still a very fine piece of work when you take the whole thing as a whole. I mean, it was a triumphant end. But back to Troughton. So Hartnell never got to be a Time Lord, but he did get to start the mystery of regeneration.
Yeah.
And it's only when the mystery of regeneration came into existence that it really became the Doctor Who that I first got to know when I got to know the end of Pertwee and the start of Baker. As I was growing up in the 70s, what happened in the 60s, and Hartnell being able to pass this mysterious ability on. It is very mystical. It's almost Arthurian in some ways, of this, the torch being passed along sort of idea. Exactly, Time Prophet. But Troughton got to be a Time Lord because they were mentioned in his era.
Yes.
So Troughton was the first actor who was a regenerating Time Lord. That's the birth of the modern Doctor Who, but it's also the birth of the classic Doctor Who for every Doctor Who apart from Hartnell.
Yeah.
Because for much of the time, even it was even hinted in certain stories that Hartnell was a human from the far future of Earth.
Yeah.
No mention of Two Hearts until the Pertwee era. So add that to the list, Time Prophet. And no mention of Gallifrey until the end of the Pertwee era in the Time Warrior. So obviously, lore gets built on step by step.
Yeah, absolutely.
But damn well, 10th Planet was a major foundation, and if it fallen flat on your face, good night, there would be no more Doctor Who. So thank God it worked, and I love that story. But then it ends with Troughton's face coming through, and just the reaction of the audience that week as to what the hell is going on. And then we get into Power, and this just, where's the Doctor gone? Is this guy an imposter? Has he stolen his place? There's a lot of doubt and uncertainty as Ben and Polly try to understand what the heck has just happened and where the old guys got off to. Meanwhile, getting sucked into was it acid?
I think it was
lava. Acid. It's acid pools, wasn't it?
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, acid pools and Daleks. I mean, considering Troughton, let's consider both of his Dalek stories, which were both in his first season. Because the rights for Daleks were being taken over to America Land by Terry. He fancied to go. So that's also why the Cybermen came in so much more strongly. When the power of the Daleks is a perfect example of the Daleks appearing weak and then becoming strong.
Strong, yeah.
And then the ending is a little bit of a rush job. It's one of those. Season 4 has quite a few sort of let's actually finish the story in 30 seconds endings. Power's a bit like that.
Possible,
So someone pulled the plug out. Oh, thanks for that.
Yeah, boom, done.
It's basically
next one.
A Macra someone turned the gas valve pulled down or whatever. So both of those stories end extremely abruptly.
Yeah, very quick.
Very abruptly. Oh God! Lights are going off. End it.
Yeah,
it's like that, isn't it? I mean, the Power with its restored by the animation has obviously found a lot more respect in the fan base than it used to have.
Yeah.
I think the animation in some ways makes it a lot better than it was. Because the Daleks don't wobble, all that sort of thing. It does help them have more menace on screen.
Yeah.
There's not so many holes to pick at, and some of the Dalek props actually did have holes to pick at by the point where they're being used for power of the Daleks. Like once you can put your pinky through, through the fiberglass and stuff like this. Yeah. Because the Dalek 6388 channel details every thing that happened to every Dalek prop ever, every misfortune any one of the poor things had, you know. So it's a bit, but I'm absolutely sure we've done one on Power of the Daleks. You can get anyone to go and find it. And then Evil of the Daleks is also the Daleks being sneaky about what they want.
Yeah,
They're trying to hide their true motive, but they are in a position of power from the start.
exactly.
They suck the Doctor and Jamie in to their trap, and then they're banjaxed.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you know, and then you know, there's all that fun with the human factor. I think it's quite a fun middle to the story, introducing Victoria, of course, and then a very effective and strong Scarbo ending.
Yeah,
You know, and I think the Emperor, you know, was an effective end, and you know, we didn't see the Daleks again until Day of the Daleks. So I mean, that was a proper end. But for Highlanders, I wish we could just find that.
yeah, that would be good.
Because it's a lovely historical. It really is. You know, we worthy of any costume drama department. Why did we ever junk it? Underwater Menace, of course, is getting those episodes back.
Apparently so, yes.
But I won't have to worry about buying it. So.
Oh yeah.
the Moonbase, I rate. It's got a lot of really funky stuff in it, you know. I like the Cyberman by the big screen and it's warbling away, you know, and the noises and the sort of hypnotic, sort of circly kind of effects being put on the screen over the voices, and the redesign of the Cybermen is so much more effective, you know, because they can walk. That's really helpful.
That's a big help.
yeah, they don't have to have someone chasing them around, slapping more sticky tape on because their legs are about to fall off. Yeah. So, I mean, that had to be done. They had to have another go at realizing the concept. But I also think it somehow it lacks a depth somewhere. I think it's a bit too much. The plot just goes A to B to C to D to E. I mean, it doesn't really have you guessing that much.
No,
not in terms of what the Doctor's doing. He's kind of reacting to things, maybe. But I mean, it's a good base under siege story, absolutely.
Oh yeah,
you know, and it's lovely, and I do love the version of it we got back. Macra Terror, the best of the animations on the animation quality, without any doubt. Does the story really grow on me? I kind of can't really warm to it that much. I suppose like a B- kind of area. You know, it's not one I reach for. It doesn't quite hit my zone, but it's still a great story. Faceless Ones needs to be 4 parts.
Yeah, agree.
You know, because there's 2 episodes, you could just chop all that out because people basically have to forget to progress the main plot for 2 episodes, so it wouldn't be a 6-parter.
Yeah,
that's a little bit of an unforgivable sin.
Yeah,
over padded that one. But you know, if you like long drawn out airport drama, then it's got everything.
It's got everything you need.
Episodes 2 to 5 will fill you up. You know.
Yeah.
And Evil we've discussed.
Yes.
And
exactly.
for Evil to be found intact. Which would you rather do, Gobby? Evil of the Daleks or the Daleks Master Plan? If you could pick one out of the vortex of time and space and bring it back to fandom, Evil of the Daleks or the Daleks Master Plan?
That's a really hard choice. But
of course it is. Of course it is.
By about that much the Master Plan, and I mean literally by that much, by a hair's breadth.
By a hair's breadth.
Because they are, you know, it is that close. But then again, you can ask me again tomorrow.
Hartnell's Doctor is really very good in Daleks Master Plan.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, Hartnell was working really hard at that point.
Really, yeah, he was. He was pushing it.
You know, he wasn't comfortable with the changes that were going on in the background and stuff. But you know, he really fought to bring his Doctor to life.
Yeah, it did.
Maybe it was because the story was so vast.
It was because it is
Being
story.
12 episodes.
Yeah, it's a big long story.
But he felt he really had to make the Doctor's presence on screen larger than ever. But I mean, Bill Hartnell was pumping it during.
Oh, good. Yeah, that was.
And I have to agree, out of respect to the effort that he was making in his portrayal, and the fact it's just such a good damn story. Yeah, I agree with you.
But I mean,
Plan
it's
over
close.
Evil.
But
Yeah.
it's very close.
Besides which, we've already got animation of Evil. We haven't got animation of Master Plan. So give us
exactly
a proper Master Plan, and we're still one up.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
so logically, the Cybermen would conclude that Master Plan was the only choice.
Yes, really.
I think we've got that. Okay.
Yeah, I think we've tied that one down. I think that.
So it's during his first year, Pat Troughton was overcoming a lot of initial skepticism in the audience, winning them over, and by the end of the year, the Doctor Who was back. It was a massive success. The ratings were going back up again.
Yeah.
Because frankly the show was better, because the leading man was better able to lead.
Yeah, and he was,
that's just how it was, and I mean, he led us straight into the Tomb of the Cybermen.
Oh well,
the best story ever.
The best, the
best story ever.
I like it. I think it's. But the thing again,
well, there will always be competition for that title. I try to leave it vague and leave it top 5, And if I happen to have 7 stories in my top 5, but I don't say them all at once, no one notices, so you can fudge it a bit, boys.
But it is a good. It's
his top story ever. If there's fighting talk, that is.
Yeah. You're going to get a few people arguing that one, Jack.
But you don't know what 80s fandom was like, Jack. You just walk right into that. That's right, isn't it, Gobby?
It's true.
Oh, it's like going down the bar and smashing a glass. That's fighting talk.
It really is. But, Jack, I agree with you.
But you're right. It's a beautiful damn story.
I think it's one of the best ever Doctor Who stories. By far.
Because as a child, from I don't know, 10, 11 sort of thing, I knew that Tomb of the Cybermen was lost, and I was distraught. I wasn't so distraught about all the other missing episodes, because I probably didn't even know about them at the time. No, I knew about Tomb of the Cybermen, and it hit me in the feels, man.
Yeah, that shows you. That shows you good story it was. It was that
when
good
it
of a
came
story.
back. Was it 91 or 93? I can't remember, but I could feel my hand holding the grip of on the seat of the bus, traveling back to my hometown from the city, where I'd taken the bus into. Where would I got it? Probably HMV. Maybe WH Smith's, because they did videos back then when there were video recording machines.
Back in the day,
and the packaging, which was all had silver inlay on the outside of the sleeve, and just sort of open it and just sort of see the tape there, and maybe I might have peeled the cellophane off the tape and put the cellophane in the bottom of my bag so that the tape was just ready to slam straight in with no delay. When I could get it in front of a VCR, because of course I was going to watch that puppy. And I have to say, whether it's because of my emotion about the story, hard to assess, but of all the missing stories which have come back, there's none of them I've enjoyed as much as Tomb of the Cybermen.
Oh, it is. It is.
Because it was like, as the little wheels went round, and the tape went whir, and every scene of this story elapsed in front of my eyes for the first time. It was legendary magic.
It is.
Especially the conclusion of part 2. But also, this is where the love of the second Doctor, I think, is really centred in the portrayal of Tomb of the Cybermen.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely.
Because you've got the parental side with Victoria and Jamie, but a more concernedly, protectively parental towards Victoria. But at the same time, you've got that fierce intelligence. You've got, he knows that it's an enemy to defeat, but he knows that the humans have got to solve the puzzles to expose the enemy, and he just can't resist nudging them along.
Yeah, just a gentle
You know,
shove.
and I like,
Yeah.
okay, if they, okay, if I tell them the answer, that's one thing. But if they choose to listen to me, that was their choice. He's dancing that finer moral line,
He certainly does, and he does it so well.
which very rarely happened in any of these stories, with the line that fine that the Doctor dances along. But he did, you know, and then of course, you know, everything unfolds and it ends with the Cybermen being sealed back up, or so we think.
So we think,
yes, or so
yeah.
we think, yes.
And then
And I don't know what it was. Was 1967 to 68 a particularly cold winter in Britain?
well, I was
Because
born in
straight-
68, so I missed it.
Yeah, straight from the frozen tomb of the Cybermen, it went right up the Himalayas.
Yes,
The abominable snowmen.
yes,
You
indeed.
know, I mean, the next story was the Ice Warriors. So, you know,
So
you
we
put
got-
that
we
together.
got-
That's I don't know how many parts is that? That's 16 weeks. Doctor Who was deep frozen.
Well, I've just done a
during 1967 to 68.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you
I've
better
just done
put
a
your
quick
warm
search.
shoes on.
I've done a quick search, and the winter of 67 and 68 was that cold. It actually caused Big Ben to stop moving because it froze.
Hey, now look at that.
So it was cold.
We've
was
just
really
revealed
cold.
how
Yes,
art imitates life.
hates life. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, there we go,
Yeah,
boys and
it
girls.
actually
Yeah.
froze Big Ben. It snowed that heavy. So it was Big Ben was actually, it froze, and there was that much snow on the arms that it couldn't actually move them either. So it was absolutely freezing.
I was very happy with recent animation of Abominable Snowmen.
Yeah.
Like Gareth went and sort of changed some stuff with it, didn't he? And like made people look more Tibetan, and made the bad guy look more like a AD&D lich than anything that was actually on screen. So you know, you could certainly complain on the purist point of view, but what the hell, it was really watchable.
Yeah, it was.
And you know, the first half of a fantastic year for the writing team of Hayes and Lincoln, with Web of Fear, you know, to follow up. Snowmen is, I mean, it's a funny historical because it's a 20th century historical.
Yeah.
Which is something that didn't happen all that much. You know, I mean, Doctor Who never went back to Nazi Germany, unlike Star Trek, it went there, you know, every other week.
Every other week, gotta go there.
Yeah. If it's not real Nazis, it's fake Nazis. You know, so
Yeah.
Sorry, it's YouTube is on, isn't it? Oh God damn it! I'm sorry.
Oh, don't worry.
Yeah, evil flag people of World War II.
Yeah, the evil flag people. That's it. Yeah, with the red flag with the black lines in a random order.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's all right, mate.
Right, where were we? So Snowmen, you know, it's just got a great little mystery figure, great intelligence, and that sense that it's not a foe you can defeat with a screwdriver.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's get inside your head sort of enemy. And then there's sort of, you know, is this really sort of ghost powers? You know, when you start having people shooting lightning at their eyeballs and stuff, you know. And then the Ice Warriors. You know what? The Ice Warriors doesn't get a lot of love in my view in fandom.
No,
it does get love, but I always people look down on it.
Yeah,
and I don't get it, because it's just a lovely example of the kind of story that it is. You know, and it's a setting where you've got to explore and get to understand the world. There's world building going on. You know, the science is that probably complete rubbish, but then that sounds like global warming anyway to me. And and then it's all this, do we turn our laser on or off? Yes or no? Do we risk it all going boom? And I really appreciated Bernard Breslau's performance.
Yes.
Coming from Carry On films and then creating this monster for Doctor Who, which I think he did really, really well.
Yeah.
And then, the enemy of the world is James Bond, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
and Patrick Troughton does a brilliant job playing his own enemy. You know, so I mean, how hard was he working that year? Jesus Christ, that poor man.
He was pushing it
But
all.
you know, that there was a heck of a lot more involved in Pat Troughton playing Salamanca in Element of the World than there was in Matt Smith playing evil Matt Smith in what's that one of the Cybermen at the end of
Oh,
season 7, the silver.
Nightmare in Silver.
Thank
There you
you very much.
Oh,
This is
good,
what
Jack.
happens.
Nice
Someone
one.
pays attention to New
Someone's
Who.
paid attention. Well
Yeah.
done.
It's the worst
You know,
Cyberman story ever.
it's always
Well, yeah.
the more recent brain cells you lose first, you see.
Yeah,
It's the stuff you've known for longer, you remember longer. Remember that, kiddos. So New Who episode titles are just like floating off the horizon at the moment for me. Bit like Arthur Dent's legs in Hitchhiker's Guide to a Galaxy, you know. Yeah. Why my legs going? That's me. That's me in New Who episode titles. But where were we? The Ice Warriors, cracking story, great story. Enemy of the World, James Bond. I got a guilty secret.
Go on then.
Because I'm friends with Philip Morris. We chat on. We have a little bit of communication. We have a mutual respect. And I never want to upset Philip.
No.
But I kind of struggle with the last third of Enemy of the World, where it gets into the underground base and these people that Salamanca has been duping into thinking that the world's all around.
Yeah.
Why would anybody go to all that effort to save that whimpering bunch of numpties?
No, hold on. The woman's really hot.
Well, there is that. Yeah, but there you go. We've solved
but
it.
you know that still doesn't explain 95% of the waste of resources. You know, it really doesn't.
Yeah, but she was hot. We are simple folk.
The ending was just rushed.
Salamanca must have just been remarkably undeveloped in certain ways. If that was his idea of the, you know, and I struggle because it's deficiencies in the plot that will bring me out of a story far more than deficiencies in the set. I don't care how bad the monsters are. You know, I'm not at all. In fact, in the next season, there's a story I'm going to have some particular polish and love for. But Enemy of the World, but I did last time I watched it. I did get it more, but the Web of Fear is so much better.
Yeah. Can't really disagree with that one. It's so much better.
I think it's rivaling Tomb of the Cybermen for Troughton's story I've seen the most.
Yeah.
Considering Tomb of the Cybermen started off in the early 90s, that's spanking it, that is. But I do limit myself. If I really love a story, I've tried to keep it to like once a year and watch it when I'm in the mood to really zock its significance, man.
Yeah,
You
well,
know, I really want to. I don't just want it going vaguely in the background, and I haven't really stilled my mind of the day's thoughts, and it's just on. I don't want to waste the best like that.
Yeah, well, Sandico 24 agrees with you. Web of Fear has to be my favourite Troughton story. So there you go. You're not the only one.
When it came back with the footage from the battle in the warehouse against the Yetis, what Douglas Camfield achieved with those shots. Absolutely fantastic. The Brigadier blazing about him. Absolutely fantastic. Sorry, Colonel blazing about him. But there's a similar scenario in the warehouse scene in Ambassadors of Death early in the plot with that, where you just see the Brigadier, he's got his service revolver out. He's blasting right, he's blasting left, he's blasting right, he's blasting left. Yeah, you go, God.
Yeah,
you go, Gordo. You lay it down, son.
Yeah.
You know,
but also remember that
he's a lot like that in Web of Fear. You know,
yeah, but also remember that he only had 6 shots. He only had 6 shots.
Yeah, he only had 6 shots, but I like that a lot more than the guy, you know, who's having a bit of a bumble, wondering if he's on the beach at Croydon in the 3 chapters. You know, the character was a little bit reduced by then, but we did pick up afterwards.
Yeah,
and then Fury from the Deep. The biggest complaint I have with Fury of the Deep animation is it's not like live action Fury of the Deep.
Yeah.
Because I think this story uniquely, the cinematography coupled with the sound was vital to its success, and with the best one in the world, what we have recreated the story from the animation, it's like soup with all the nutrients sucked out.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, how else can I describe it? It is a watchable, enjoyable, and yes, enjoyable version of the story. But the atmosphere of the live action, you know, and especially in the sense of generating this idea of claustrophobia and no
Yeah.
escape. You know, and of course, you know, following straight on from Web of Fear, which is also claustrophobia and no escape, with the webs blocking the tunnels.
Exactly.
You know, Doctor Who is like is showing it's taking no prisoners. It's marching straight down into the depths of the nation's subconscious, and giving everything a good kicking. You know, I mean, what a year! I mean, it finishes with Wheel in Space, and it's the Cybermen again.
Yeah.
This
Good old
time,
Cybermen.
this time 6 parts worth of them, and well, yeah, obviously, I would love to see the live action of Wheel in Space come back too, and you know, it is another based on the Z story, but you know, the parts that we got, you know, that I saw in the 90s and on the VHS Troughton viewers vid, they had one part, I think, of I think it was part 6 of Wheel in Space. So we've got a little bit of it, but yeah, I'd love to have the whole thing. But
Yeah.
okay, Jack, you said
Oh,
Tomb of the Cybermen was the best Doctor Who story ever. I'm going to put another proposition. I'd like to know if you agree with this. Season 5 is the best classic season of Doctor Who ever.
It's in my top 10.
Only the top 10?
I'm sorry,
Oh, that's not
but
enough.
it's way better than Series
Not
6.
enough.
That was an
Not
absolute
enough.
fail.
oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if you're telling me it's top 10, you're telling me it isn't top 5.
Yeah, well, you see.
And
Yeah,
yeah, and
but I
I'm
mean,
talking
you've got
classic, not new Who, classic. Are you really telling me season 5 isn't top 5 in classic?
yeah, top 5 of classic.
Top 5. There
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
I managed to bring you to your senses. You know, like Roger Delgado myself, himself,
Yes.
you know, just listen to my voice, you know.
Listen to my voice.
Yeah,
It is top 5.
season
It
5 is
is top
good,
5.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, no coercive pressure, you know, gaslight you on me, just twist, you know.
It is. Just stop
Yeah,
arguing.
yeah, absolutely. But it's
Just
all
picture,
right.
just
Crisis over. We got it right.
just
Yeah.
picture.
Do you feel like you've got some stuff you want to say at the moment? Have you got anything brewing?
Come
I've
on
just
then, Jack.
talked through 2 seasons of Troughton. What have you got anything to say about these seasons?
They're really good. I mean, series 5 actually is one of my favorites, and
Yeah,
I think the Web of Fear part 1 is the best for
it
me,
is.
and
It got atmosphere and setup. A lot of the best episodes of stories are part 1s.
yeah, and I swear it's got the same theme tune as The Shining.
Yeah, how you say it. I see what you mean. Yeah.
I love that
Yeah.
scene in the museum where the guy thinks it's the old fella who's broken in again, and then the Yeti comes alive.
Had the whole
Yeah.
scope of the story, didn't it? You know, and it was cinematographic. It did feel like an old horror film.
Mm.
In
It's
fact,
just
I remember as a kid, I first got to learn about some of the Troughton monsters, not from any Doctor Who book, but from a book of horror movie monsters, but
Ah,
actually had some 60s Doctor Who stuff in it. You know, so I had a Dalek, I had a Cyberman, I had an Ice Warrior, I think you had a Macra. Not sure what else it might have had. Nothing too in depth, but I mean, I think probably with the Ice Warriors and the Macra. I mean, that was my first exposure to those creatures. Was actually through a horror movie book that I had a chance to pawn, got out of the library or whatever. You know, as a kid, you get hold of what you can, can't you? So it had a cultural reach, you know, where there you go, Doctor Who influencing horror films.
Yeah.
As much as it stole from every horror film imaginable,
I was
you know.
to say, yeah.
Yeah, it stole from everything, even the curse of a mummy's hand, you know.
Yeah.
And nothing was too good to get ripped off in the cause of Doctor Who.
Oh, of course not.
Sorry, homage.
Homage. Yeah, it's always a homage.
You know, fed into the blend.
Yes, it was a
Like
homage.
meat. Yes, yeah.
It's always a homage.
Like meat. But then we come to season 6, which is Pat Troughton's last season.
Yeah.
And I have a special love for one of the stories of season 6.
Don't say the invasion.
And I bet there's a good chance you can't guess it right. And Jack has just proved that he can't guess it right.
Yeah.
Which means, Gobby,
I've no idea.
You're shot at it. What other season 6 story might have?
Oh, God. Really?
No, I'll let you off. Yeah, it's the War Games. No, it's not the War Games.
Not the War Games. No,
it's not the War Games.
No, not War Games.
It's not Seeds either, as much as I love Seeds.
It's not the Dominators, is it?
It's the Crotons.
Oh.
The Croutons.
And I'll tell you why. In particular, I love the Crotons. The Crotons is the first time I got a chance to see Patrick Troughton's performance as the Doctor.
Right.
Because of 1981 and the 5 Faces of Doctor Who repeat season.
Right.
So
that was like
9. That's me at age 9. And my father would have been watching the news, right? So the colour television was out of action, not an option. But that was all right because it was a black and white story anyway. So it was hustling to the back room, to the dining room, and watch these episodes of Doctor Who. Eating the dinner sort of thing. And Unearthly Child was, brilliant and dull at the same time. Great mixed bag, that story. But the next week was the Troughton example, which was the Crotons. And it gets a lot of stick from Doctor Who fandom. But it's Robert Holmes' first proper script for Doctor Who. It's got superb acting talent. It might be a bit over earnest, but it's all well meant.
Yeah.
And the idea of the Crotons themselves, well, maybe they didn't scare people so much shuffling along with their huge dong-like weapon in a skirt.
And their awful voices.
Yeah.
And their awful voices, about to say
that.
But
I love the voices.
Hey, see?
I love the voices.
Not a superior mind.
Well, I think it gets stick for being like a South African accent or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's very It's
got a very distinctive twang to it, and why couldn't they sound like that? I never thought as a child, oh, that's ripping off a South African accent. I was just like, and because I was intent on the program, you're intent on hearing what the creatures say because their voices are going to have distortion to it because they're the creatures, So yeah, I loved all that Croton talk, back and forth stuff, Dino trope, and it's not especially it's not a story which is big on realism.
No,
fine,
no,
right?
No.
It's more of a fantasy parable.
Yeah,
of the people being enslaved by
slavery, wasn't it? Yeah, slavery thing.
A more powerful force, but which is also actually really vulnerable and weak. So has to keep that society down unless they realise how easily they could topple them.
Yeah.
So Robert Holmes sort of put each of those bricks on top of each other. And then use it to show that society was unstable, and that's clever writing.
Yeah,
You know, that's clever. He's putting the ideas on top of each other, and he's letting it emerge from different places within the story. I mean, it shows his potential as a writer. It's a lovely story in its own right, and chemistry between everybody, Jamie, the Doctor, and Zoe. So screw the haters. I love Crotons, and I don't care if anybody else doesn't.
Well, there you
So
go.
having started on that, why did you say, "Oh no, not the invasion"? Will,
Yeah. Why not the invasion, Jack?
what did you mean, Jack? Sorry, what?
Yeah.
Pardon my brain. Why not? What's the invasion done to you apart from got down your sewers?
Because it was the most overhyped story ever, and then when I actually sat down and watched it, I realised that the whole dialogue of the film was just Packer, 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 and then
Fair
the
enough.
Cybermen don't do anything at all. They could be any monster, and it wouldn't make any difference. And the story is basically just the Doctor, Jamie, and the girls trying to constantly break in and out of this bloody skyscraper. They get out and then they immediately break back in. Then they get out again. Then they're dragged back in.
My fantasies just shatter like a palace of ice just collapsing and
I'm
it's
sorry,
wreckage
it's
upon the
rubbish.
floor.
It's
Oh,
rubbish.
it's so devastating, you cruel beast.
Sadako 24. We need to cancel Jack. He's only joking, of course.
Yeah, cancel him. Yeah, cancel him. Look,
Just
look,
prove
I look at the story differently because I look at it as two stories. Because
Right.
remember, it's not actually a Cyberman story until the very end of part 4. So it's a James Bond story. Again.
A bad one.
No, I don't think so. I think it's a better James Bond story than Enemy of the World. And I think it's a more realistic one, and I think it's also doing a great job of world building, bringing in now Brigadier Alistair Gordon.
He's the best part.
And now Unit. So again, foundational story. The Pertwee era would not exist without the invasion, and that
I'm
was
sorry,
deliberate. It was a prototype. But I mean, in terms of the Cybermen not doing anything, I think they got a few shots off.
Yeah, about 3 or 4 scenes in the whole story.
That's a lot better than managing the wheel in space.
And let's not forget that god
I really don't think that's a
activation
reasonable
noise that makes my
criticism.
ears bleed.
Oh well, yeah, there is that.
I'm just like, oh my god,
their software was just glitching all the time, and I mean that was it. It was sewer gas. You see, was seeping into their helmets, and then their processors weren't working properly. And it's not the sort of thing Telos likes to talk about, because it's tactical vulnerabilities, obviously, but the especially those early marks of Cyberform, they do have a few upsetting weaknesses. That's what I reckon. That explains everything about why they were crap. Sorry, I mean why they didn't do anything.
There's probably a
so
reason
get
why
away,
we
just get away. I mean, all these Cybermen coming out of all the boo, 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 and all the walking along the tunnels, and the along the tunnel, and then the doctor jumping right at the end, and Tobias Ball getting it just like he deserves to, and then Zoe going, I reprogram a computer and blew up all the ships.
The only thing that gets me through this story is that sexy camera girl.
Ah, yes. Well, yes.
They hedged their bets and they put her there purposely just for you. And
yeah, they thought all that time back. Better put her in just for a lad called Jack.
Okay, let us at least agree this about Invasion. No one could ever fault his lack of vision.
Well, it had vision.
A huge.
It just wasn't well executed. That's all.
Exactly.
Expectations today.
Oh, great.
My little heart just can't be so cruel to a story which just means so well and is just so lovely. So, The Invasion is a great story. Whatever shortcomings, critical analysis.
Brilliant.
I'd also stick up for the Dominators because okay, it had its problems, not least the attempt by late mate Hayes and Lincoln to extort the BBC for the toy rights to the Quarks, which was just no kind of Daleks at all, and it all got ugly, and they never worked with BBC again as a result. All that sort of stuff.
Yeah, got a bit messy, didn't it?
So yeah, it was a messy one. But I still think it's charming. I think especially the interior set for the Dominator spacecraft is really good fun. All the stuff that goes on there, and the jumping on the table and jump off will get electrocuted and stuff. And the idea was there in the Dominators costumes, for the Dominators themselves, and just kind of today it would be done so well, and the Quarks were just not very well thought out. And if you're going to have a monster, you want a monster to be threatening, unless it's supposed to be an animal, it should be able to talk.
I mean, they're basically box-shaped
if it's a robot, it should be able to talk.
Let's just say what they are.
Exactly.
Once again, the only thing that got me through this story was a pretty woman.
I'm seeing a trend here. I'm seeing a trend here.
To Wendy Padbury, you beast. Yeah, I mean, we hope not. But yeah. I mean, do we need to send you Zivvy's way? Is that a Wendy Padbury reference, or which woman are you talking about in the story?
I can't remember. It was one of the captives that the Dominators had.
Yeah, that's why. You see, I didn't think you meant Wendy Padbury, and then you say that got you through the story, but she got wasted before even the end of part 1.
Oh well, I must have just
she barely
nodded
made.
off.
Oh no, she made it a bit further in,
off.
but she definitely got shot up. Pretty early. So it's brutal times.
I know it went downhill after that.
And then, okay, so tell me how you feel about the Mind Robber.
Oh, this is cool.
Oh.
And if you don't like it very much, just in case, I want you to think of one thing that you do love about it.
Well, this will be fun.
And tell me that as well as anything else. I want to draw some kind of appreciating.
I mean, I absolutely hate it, but one thing that I did love is I don't know if it's the lighting, but I thought that bit where the Jamie with no face was actually quite creepy. It might have just been the lighting.
It's a creepy idea. You're just walking along and suddenly, bam, you don't have your own face. What's going on?
I think they were on drugs, the people who made that, because it just makes zero sense. And then I was
they didn't have money
for
a set for anything that was supposed to be real. So, that hence all the cardboard trees and stuff, is this they're kind of they're having a bit of a problem. Because the invasion was actually really quite expensive, So I mean both the Dominators and the Mind Robber had to be extensively rejigged. I think Mind Robber was written as a last-minute replacement for another story, wasn't it, Gobby? They were just desperate there. But they stumbled, but they carried on, and greatness followed. But part 1, probably the most surreal episode of Doctor Who ever.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Not much tops
but it was just the other 3 parts that were awful.
What do you think? Surreal episodes of Doctor Who, the Mind Robber part 1.
It was
It's hard to assess if Celestial Toy Making might have had an atmosphere that might have beaten it, because you really haven't been able to get the vibe of that story because of the condition.
Yeah, that's the thing with that, isn't it, really? It's
but I mean, I know it was written as a last-minute cheap replacement episode, because we needed to pad a 4 into a 5. So like the robots were nicked off another show or something. It was all nicked. It was, and just a cyclorama. But then when you think, okay, I'm a writer, this damn thing, not only am I a writer, I'm a producer, and this damn thing has to go out on a Saturday night to the mainstream audience of the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
With my name on it. And all I got is a TARDIS set and an empty room. What the hell do I do?
Yeah, he did. He was fighting against it. He was fighting against that. It was a very cobbled together, and it showed. Unfortunately,
I submit that the Mind Robber is the most fantastic story in that it's the product of a creative mind driven to true desperation, but nevertheless creates an episode which is intriguing and draws you in. And whether you like the whole thing with the cardboard castle and the princess with the hair, because it is a completely different tone. Would you agree that part one has got a unique atmosphere amongst Doctor Who, Jack?
Yeah, I'd agree. But Jack?
I mean, yeah, it's been quite a while since I've watched it because I vowed I'm not going to watch it again. But
well, that will stop you watching it again.
If you
if you vow on your mother's life, or if you're older like me on your mother's grave, I'm never putting that in the DVD player again.
All I'm going to say is that season 7 happened for a reason, because this season was so bad.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, and I thought you were going to come out and adore the Space Pirates.
Well, we've only seen like one episode, and I do actually like that episode that we've got.
That episode is
woohoo! He likes the episode, right?
Yeah, the
Space Pirates, A+. Yeah, S tier, Gobby, Space Pirates. Jack says
Space
so.
Pirates. Well, it is. S-tier. I mean, you can't disagree. But the problem is we only got that one episode, so
I don't think the Space Pirates is the greatest Doctor Who story. Of season 6, let alone the 1960s. But I think it would be so much fun to have it back.
Oh, it would be so good, wouldn't it? Let's be honest, But...
Seeds of Death, though, actually made the Ice Warriors an antagonist, a credible threat. Which was the biggest complaint people had about them hissing and waving their pincers inside their spaceship deep in a glacier, is that they weren't exactly doing anybody that much threat. I mean, they did turn up at the human base at one point and, sonic a couple of people. But they weren't exactly as brutal as the idea behind them might suggest, But in the Seeds of Death, you turn up in Transmat cubicle at the wrong time, you've had it, mate. You're chips.
Yep.
So there's a lot of woo going on, isn't there? And quick, duck back in the vent. Did they get him in?
I'm sorry, guys.
Unscrewing panels.
You got to go.
You have to bounce. Oh, bless you, Jack. It's
no problem. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming on and stirring the chat up.
But that's what we were doing. Yeah,
I'd love to do a part 2.
Yeah, going around claiming. On the one hand, he's claiming a Tube and Cybermen is the greatest Doctor Who story ever, and on the other, he's claiming to be invasion of poop. How do you put those two on the scales?
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Brilliant, mate.
You've been great. Thanks very much.
Yeah, and as you know, mate, we're on again tomorrow at the same time. So you're more than welcome to come on if you're available, mate.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, guys.
We can carry on. Yeah, it's been brilliant, Jack. Thanks very much for popping on, mate.
Bye.
No worries. Bye. See you later, Jack. Bye.
Which I think is perfect because of where we warbled our way along there.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
We are now at the War Games.
Yes, War Games. Well, I thought it was. I quite like War Games. It's okay. It's okay in my humble opinion. For me,
it's top 10.
Right.
I can't quite squeeze it into any combination of top 5.
Yeah, that's
kind of there.
It's there.
It's not A tier. It's not A tier. It's B tier. The reason I love it is, again, it's this triumph of a show in desperate adversity in terms of production being in chaos in terms of scripts.
Yeah.
I don't really know what went wrong in 1968-69, but it really did go wrong. They just weren't getting scripts that they could get good stories out of. Maybe season 5 was so good, it made a lot of people's balls shrivel up, and we didn't dare put scripts in for season 6.
Yeah, because it was season 5.
Stranger things would happen would be true.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just see the quality of season, like season 5, go out. You know,
Yeah.
especially if you were chancing your arm as a new writer. Well, maybe I don't want to risk getting shot down trying to aim for that cloud. You
But
know.
but that's happened a lot of times in other
Yeah, it
series as
has.
well,
Yeah, it
where
has.
they've really struggled to follow a season because, as you said, the season before was just so good. It does kind
But
of put a dampener on.
basically, turn around and went, Terrence. Terrence
Yeah,
Dix comes along and goes back, and Mac Hulk comes along and helps him, and the War Games is the result.
yeah, absolutely.
And the War Games, to me, has to be as equally important a story as An Unearthly Child.
Yeah, yeah, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, yeah,
Now, it's debatable at the time that Part 10 of the War Games went out. It's debatable whether it was confirmed or not that Doctor Who was continuing.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard differing accounts, and I haven't bothered to go look at dates. One of them will be true, but it's not really important.
No,
What's more important about the War Games is it tries to properly tie up Doctor Who.
it does try and yeah. That's. I mean, Sadiko 24 just put that if the show had finished on War Games, it would have been a fantastic ending.
It would,
Yeah,
and I think the show would be
it would have.
remembered still today.
Yeah, of course it would. Of course it would.
But maybe it would even have been brought back if John Pertwee's season never happened, because the idea was fantastic, although
Yeah,
still not fully fleshed out at this point. Although, little things like the sonic screwdriver first appeared in Fury from the Deep.
yeah,
So things like that were bursting into the backstory of the show. But the War Games give you at first it's a kind of, you think it's a time travel drama, and then you quickly realise that there's a lot of weirdness going on here, and then you
yeah,
realise the scope of the plot of all these thousands and thousands of humans being put against each other in these imaginary war zones, thinking they're fighting the real war back on Earth in their historical context, and how that ultimately defeating that completely is overwhelming the Doctor's resources. And so then, just as Power of the Daleks, episode 1, asked us to consider the somewhat cosmic, even divine
yeah,
implications of a power like regeneration,
yeah,
the War Machines, episode 10, showed us the divine beings who wield that power.
yeah.
And there's one thing that you can definitely say for the War Games Time Lords: that was Gallifrey before it fell.
It was.
However
Yes.
you interpret that narratively, whatever Gallifrey timeline you roll a maraca for, you could do what you like,
Yeah.
But the War Games is the presentation of the Time Lord in the purest form. And what I do like about it is how terrifying it is to try and run away from them.
Yes, indeed.
And your mind's working at normal time, but your limbs can only run at half time, and the
Yeah.
discontinuity of realizing that there's a force you can't even understand
And yeah.
messing with time around you.
Yeah. Terrifying, really.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I remember showed you time in that kind of way at other times. It's getting a bit untimely the amount of times I'm having to say time, isn't it?
Time,
But,
yeah.
but the Dalek Master Plan and the use of the Time Destructor and Brave Sarah Kingdom falling to dust and stuff, and
Yeah.
Daleks sort of collapsing back into goo.
Mm.
And then finally getting blown away as dust. So the idea of time as a sort of a real dangerous force. I mean, yes, it had been shown before, and the
Yeah.
time wasn't used like that in the War Machines, actually. But the threat to was unmistakable.
Unmistakable. Yeah.
Unmistakable.
Always there.
So we are dealing with omnipotent power.
Yeah.
Compared to any human scale that can be applied from planet Earth, and we find out that is who Doctor Who's people are.
Yeah,
So we now know that, yeah, he really was this alien all along. He was never a man
never.
from
Yeah,
our future. He was from some
exactly.
kind of universe beyond. I mean,
Yeah,
just imagine, as Stacko said, if this had been the end of Doctor Who, what fan theory might have done with that since 1969.
God, yeah.
But it's all of it is owed to Troughton, and I freely admit Patrick Troughton is my number one Doctor Who.
Yeah, he's my second. He
Yeah,
does seem like
as
being number
much
two.
as some stories like Underwater Menace actually turn me off, I can't do that one. Although, as I say, I've learned to love Enemy of the World a bit better. And the Space Pirates, well, it would be fun if we had it. But it represents the perfect genesis of the show,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it germinating beyond the original framework, and and then it would regenerate again, and then take the 70s by storm, which I'm sure we're going to talk about tomorrow night. Actually,
Absolutely,
should we do
absolutely.
some of that, talking about the 70s? But I think what I should do is I've just been chilling here. You see, I haven't been particularly looking at comments. Have we got any comments which we need to make sure we've
Oh,
talked about
they're
before
to be
we bring
fair,
this one to an end?
yeah, to be
Everyone's happy.
everybody's happy. I mean, we've had some really
Yeah,
good. It's the
yeah,
the
yeah.
chatters, the comments have gone nicely and generically. With what we've been saying, it's been great. The chat's been absolutely fantastic again today. It really has been
Love
absolutely
it.
brilliant.
I can
You know,
see. I can see
and
everybody. I'm glad everyone's
massive
having a
thanks.
great time.
Yeah, massive thanks to
Uh,
everybody who's commented and joined in the chat. It's been absolutely amazing, absolutely brilliant, and it's so enjoyable to be involved in a stream about Doctor Who that's just good and positive
and
and
tomorrow we've
great.
also got another guest.
Yes, hopefully.
Yes.
Well, she said
Yeah.
she's coming on, and that will be Starry Eyed Girl. Will hopefully be joining us, and Jack's just said he'll come back as well.
And
So
Jack will
there
come.
we go.
Now
Oh yes,
now we're talking about Pertwee.
yeah,
Jack perks
exactly.
up,
You see.
Yeah, he wants to tell us all about the Sea Devils or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and it was great to have Jack on. It's refreshing to have different opinions and that on the channels. It always is, especially
Refreshing, he
it's
says.
refreshing.
Refreshing.
It is. It's absolutely
Oh,
fantastic.
the
Absolutely
foul
fantastic.
stench of sacrilege. No, sorry, refreshing. Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
the fact that he pretty much alienated the entire chat. But
No,
no, I
I
mean,
mean
it's
that
great.
is, of course,
Great.
sheer jocularity on my part.
Of
It
course
was
it is.
lovely to talk
It's
to
been
Jack.
brilliant, and Jack doesn't hold back, which is
No,
great.
no,
and
that's
that's and
always
that
good.
and it's brilliant when the whole thing has just been the last two streams, this one and the one before, have just been absolutely such a
But
pleasure, so enjoyable to do.
before we close tonight, I will
Yeah,
remind people again. Please, if you've got the stomach for the story, go and listen to the 90-minute interview that I've done with Dan,
yeah, it's up on the
which is
channel now.
live on Gobby's channel now.
Yeah,
And if you've got questions about it, you by all means direct them. And if you do have questions about pancreas cancer, or how am I doing, and you want to ask me questions about how my health is doing in the chat, I'll answer them.
yep,
I want to be candid with you guys, so that you understand, that when this rolling train rolls to a stop,
yep,
there is a rhyme and reason to it. In fact, me and Gobby were talking about this earlier, because it's probably really hard for me to know when it will be time to go.
yeah,
That's the last one, chaps.
yeah,
Because I'd always hope for one more. Who wouldn't?
absolutely, and we'll
You
keep
know?
doing them until such a time.
Yeah, who wouldn't? But the
Yeah,
reality is, it probably won't go like that. And then there'll be a final episode without me, but with other guests to
yeah,
wrap our love-a-thon up. But I also really
absolutely.
hope that you are all really feeling the love that we have for the show. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe I've been a bit technical tonight.
no, no,
I
no,
mean,
it's been
maybe I
great.
feel that way because maybe I haven't just got an emotion of how much joy Pat Troughton's performance gives me, and
Oh, he was
how
brilliant.
that damn twinkle,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
what a cheeky little man, what a what a brilliant actor. What do I want to regenerate into? Or who do I want to regenerate into?
Good question. Very good question.
Strange question.
Strange.
Because
Anything's possible.
at the moment, I'm really appreciating the life that I've had.
Yeah.
And I'm not going around going, oh no, why? I mean, I understand that screw ups were made.
Yeah.
I understand that I could have lived 20 years longer. Perhaps.
Perhaps. Yeah.
I understand that me struggling with my own mental health was a part of why, not the whole story, not by any means,
but a
but
bit.
was a factor that made it harder for me to get effective help in time.
Yeah.
And I tell this story in these 90 minutes with Dan.
Yeah.
But to back into the Doctor Who side of it, who would I want to regenerate into? I'll try to answer that with an actual Doctor Who character. You give me a second here.
Yeah, no worries. It's an interesting one too.
Somebody swashbuckling.
Yeah.
Somebody debonair, interesting.
Yes, indeed.
And with a bit of get and go, yeah. Who character like that? Harry Sullivan.
Oh, good choice.
Harry Sullivan. I would come back as a protective gentleman scholar who nevertheless, could dish out a bit of the old fisticuffs if it was required. I really like Harry as a character. I mean, I know why he didn't get to run more because Tom was so capable.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes. But Ian Marter was a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I would come back as Harry Sullivan.
And Sadiko24 has put that. These streams are really entertaining me. I'll be gutted when they're over. So will I, mate. So will I. So will I, which is nice. And then he's also put, I wish these things concerning mental struggles were better understood. Again, absolutely. Absolutely. And Wookie Fever's jumped in just as we're finishing.
Well, welcome to the end. Yeah, hit the rewind button and you're good. So we are just winding this show up.
Yeah, we're just bringing it down.
Let's do that, and then we can start saying meaningful stuff again tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So see you all 5:30 tomorrow, everybody, for
absolutely.
part 3 of Why We Love Doctor Who.
See you all later. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.